I'm Jack Robinson, Director of Commercial Development for NetLogic Marine. What I want to talk to you about today is building a functional and good communication system, and then our software, VesselWatch, which is very much like the Android for digital mobile radio. So it can add lots of functionality like crew call from our phone app, tracking your tenders, we have 32 applications to date that can enhance, protect, more security, more safety for the crew via the VesselWatch software. But as this is a very misunderstood part of the industry, and we are by far the leading experts, and I will explain why that is shortly, I want to also just cover compliance. And I think this is very important because many yachts out there are currently operating illegally, on the fringe of legality, or simply don't know that they are operating in some way not within the realms of the law. And we saw from the police raid in Barcelona in June, right through to the season destroys in America by the FCC, that clearly there's a need to understand all of this. So let's look at some basic legislation. And one of the most important things is you must operate on marine frequencies. These are 450 to 470 megahertz. Now within that, there is a spectrum to use. There's good ways of using it and less good ways of using it. And really when you work with an expert like us, this is what we help you to do. So there is no way around those. These are the frequencies for marine. You cannot use land-based frequencies. Those are to be obtained for land. That is ITU approved, i.e. the Communication Division of the United Nations. So if you want to go to any UN countries, you need to operate legally. Finally, then there is also the narrowbanding aspect, which is to work within narrowbanding, which is the compression level on the kilohertz. Now, 25 kilohertz is not allowed in countries like America, where it is regulated by the FCC, the biggest comms regulator in the world. If you go there and you are operating on 25 kilohertz, they will seize and destroy your equipment. And the fine for this is $110,000, which would have paid multiple times over for a brand new radio system, top of the range radios, all the amazing apps. You know, I want to call my helicopter, or I fall in the water and I have a man overboard integrated on the radio. Now, to be very clear, all these things are only possible with VesselWatch. These are not something you get just by buying a radio in a box. In fact, we always say to people, please think about building a communication system, not just about buying a radio. When you buy a radio out of a box, it's very much like buying a smartphone with no operating system and no apps. It's not going to deliver what you want. A last aspect I want to cover on this side of the kind of infrastructure and legality is the building of a competent and functional system. Now, this very much starts with a survey on board using RSSI values. Then you need to build the right infrastructure. What I often say to yachts is, if you went into a 17-story building and you had an iPhone 7 and an €85 throwaway phone, and you said, these phones are rubbish because I'm not getting Wi-Fi. It's not the phones. If you only had one router in one room of a 17-story building, it was poor failure to plan for infrastructure. You needed to run cables through the walls. You needed to put in Wi-Fi repeaters. This is very much the same thing with radios. You either need on smaller yachts an IP-based solution, or on larger yachts a distributed antenna system. This will run throughout the vessel and support your radios and ensure you have full coverage. A single handheld unit is not going to deliver the coverage you want. And that's true again of all aspects of the networks, whether it's mobile phone or Wi-Fi. So now we've looked at this, the infrastructure, the legality, let's look at the fun side of things. Let's look at what we can do when we add VesselWatch to a system. So you have everything from integrating your alarms onto your radio to a crew call app, which you're able to just bring out your phone as the owner and summon a stewardess. You even have now the iPhone watch integration. So what I could actually do is I could go on there, I could simply say Coca-Cola Sun Deck, and you would see that appear, and then I would send that command through, and that will actually go directly through to a radio. That radio will then generate an alarm, then the stewardess would respond, this would come back into the system, and the halo would glow green. So there are many things you can do. Tender tracking. We also have a full management interface, such as the one that you'll see on the screen. You know who's on board. We have Bluetooth tracking. So in fact, you can actually see everyone who's on board where they are. If you were to leave the yacht, it can log you out the yacht automatically just because you're carrying your radio. We have aspects of security, panic alarms, motion sensor integration. Walk up the passerelle, it sets off an intruder alarm. That goes to the radio of the person on watch. And to save lives, we even have a man overboard. Clips on the side of your radio. You go overboard, it generates an alarm to everyone or a group that you want, saying who went overboard and gives a GPS bearing of where you went overboard. I won't go through every 32 of our applications because we really won't have time to do that. But this is our software, and I want to be really clear on that. We know no other company out there is using their own software. It is third-party software built by someone else. That's very important because if it goes wrong, you're dealing with someone else via them. This is our software. We have a license for development of Motorola. We're licensed partners to Hytera. If you look at a company who will only offer you one brand of radio, I would be very suspicious, because it means they're working with them because they're the only ones they're allowed to work with. We can offer you Kenwood, Icon. Each one we can explain what it can do or what it can't do. They all have their limitations, just like mobile phones, top of the range versus more basic. I think this is important to understand.